it's important where and who you get your news from. Radio on Fire brings information and entertainment to urban America. Whether it's news, sports, entertainment, or relationships, Radio on Fire has the urban experience covered from all angles. Visit radioonfire.com, download the Radio on Fire app, and follow us on social media at Radio on Fire.
Hello everyone, it's Angie and Brother Nance here on the RTV radio show. We are here again each and every Tuesday with some amazing guests every week. I just want to continue to just thank you all for supporting us. I just want to say that first and foremost. Last week the reviews on there and the comments, everything was just so great. We had Umar on here talking about the boxing center. We have some great people coming in the future. But I just want to thank you all for continuing to support us, to continue to view our show, and continuing to just share. And I want to encourage you all, before we, go on to our guests, I want to encourage you to share this right now. You can also always call in to 404-436-1277. Again, it's 404-436-1277. Now that I have that out there, I want to thank my guest for coming on. Special guest, Ms. Corinthia Barber. She is the chair for the Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee.
Say that again. Say that one more time.
Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee. See, we can say that fast, but I had to give. I had to tell him just to do Baltimore Dems. But before I kind of bring her in fully, I want to just let you know a few things about her, and this is something I like to do. When some great people are doing great things in the community, we want to acknowledge that.
Absolutely.
So she was the former president of the Etna Gardens Lakeside Civic Association. She, as I stated, chair of the Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee. She was also the former chair of the board of Maryland Automobile Insurance. Sorry about that. And as I was reading on the Daily Records, I believe it stated that she was the first woman ever elected for the chair. Nice. And then in 2016, the Daily Records had named her one of the Maryland top 100 women. So I want to acknowledge that is something to just be thankful for, and thank you for all the service you are doing in our community.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You are very, very welcome. On this show, we're going to talk about what is the Central Committee, what is not. Brother Nance might be quiet on here because he's going to be taking notes and learning.
I want to know I have an idea, but I just want to know what they actually do.
So we're going to be talking about what is the Central Committee, what it is not. Okay. We're going to also be talking about the upcoming community forum, should I say, which is the Civic Saturday, and that's where you can know how government works, how to make your voice heard, and so forth. And then you're going to find ways that you can play a part or support the Central Committee, or even give us events that are going on in the community. So we just want to let people know what's going on.
All right.
So with that said, hello.
Hello there.
So I want to dive in. I think some of the questions that we always hear is, what is the Central Committee?
Right.
So I think it would be best coming from you to explain that.
Okay. The Central Committee is the grassroots community level volunteers, actually.
Volunteers?
Who are charged with getting Democrats elected.
Really?
Yes.
So they're all volunteers?
They're all volunteers. However, you must run for office.
Really?
And finance a campaign and canvass and talk to citizens and get elected. And we have 42 members. The Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee has 42 elected members.
Wow.
And we have an additional 17 at-large members who have been appointed by their individual districts.
Wow. I had no idea they were volunteers.
Yes.
Well, that's what I was elected for. I'm
Which
sitting
requires
here.
us to use
I was
our
gonna
own
say.
finances really to do the work.
So you guys are like the buffer between like the elected officials in the community?
Absolutely. We are the liaisons. We are where the rubber meets the road.
Okay.
The grassroots
like that.
community folks who translate the information and messaging
Okay.
from our state delegates and senators
Okay.
to the community.
Okay. Well, I had no idea. You just bombed me with that. I feel great now that I know that.
So I always like to say, I put on there as a question as, what is a central committee and what is it not? Because I think it's still important to know sometimes some of the things that we're asked of where it's out of our jurisdiction. So can you...
Yeah, and I think that's a good question. I think it's confusing to some because many members of the Central Committee wear many hats. Because oftentimes those who run or are appointed to serve on the Central Committee are already leaders in the community. They may be presidents of the community associations or involved in other grassroots organizations. So you see people doing various things, so I think that causes the confusion sometimes. We are not legislators.
Okay.
Because I know the last cycle people ran on platforms of things that they were going to get passed in Annapolis. We are like other citizens. We can work with our senators and delegates and advocate for certain things, but we're not legislators.
So, like, if I was a part of a community association, I could go to my central committee person for my district, and, like, if I had, like, a project like street lights, I can filter it through y'all with my...
Well, and your question brings up one of the things that is a focus of ours, is helping people to understand where we go for what.
Okay.
Because street lights is a local issue.
Okay.
And that would go to your city council person.
Okay.
When we talk about laws that we would like to be changed in Annapolis, statewide laws, then those are things that you could say to a member of the Central Committee, this is an idea that I have that I think this law needs to change. And we could communicate that to the delegate or the senator on your behalf, or facilitate a conversation with you and those individuals.
Okay, that's important because a lot of people don't feel like they're educated enough to even change the laws.
Absolutely. And I know Angie's not quite ready to go to talk about Civic Saturdays, but I must
that's fine.
One of the things, I was elected chair of the Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee in January.
Okay, congratulations.
And thank you. And one of my priorities is educating, empowering, and galvanizing our community. I am committed to a more educated and engaged electorate. And many times we are not as engaged because we just don't have the information that we need.
True.
So therefore, we're starting a series which is called Civic Saturday.
Okay.
The first one, which is on this coming Saturday, June 15th, from 12 to 2, is to help people understand how local government works. What's the difference between my different city agencies? Where do I go if I have an issue with my trash or my potholes
water
or any of that?
Yeah.
Who do I talk to? And help people understand that if I have an idea for a law to be passed in the city, how do I make that happen? And how to have my voice heard, how to advocate with our city officials. Quite a few years ago, it's probably about 10 years ago, I worked with a group of other community leaders to work on having Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark introduce legislation to make it illegal for people to put "We Buy Houses" signs and all of those illegal signage that litters our city. That came out of a group of city volunteers, community leaders who said, we're tired of people preying on our community with these signs, misinforming people, and Mary Pat Clark introduced legislation, and that law was passed.
Wow.
So those are the kinds of things that we as individuals can do.
So question then, so how do you guys engage the young people so they can understand that their voice is powerful too?
Excellent question.
Go ahead.
Yes. One is I have appointed a liaison to the Young Democrats.
Okay.
So the Young Democrats are folks who are 35 and younger.
Okay.
That way we
I
can
just
work.
missed it.
Yeah. I'm not going to say how much I missed it by. We're going to work collaboratively with them on their activities so that we can reach that demographic.
Okay.
In addition, we have a voter education and registration committee. Within that community, we have subgroups with individuals who are focused on particular demographics, and one of them is youth.
Okay.
The other is high schools, because as you know, civics is not taught in our schools.
At all.
So
it's a lot not being taught in our schools.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
yes. So we will be working with our schools.
Okay.
Not to cut you off, if you can kind of speak in the mic. One of the viewers
Yes.
said it's kind of hard to hear
Oh,
you.
I am so sorry.
So I'm trying to
And
like listen to it.
somebody said, how can we get in contact with her after seeing her on the show?
Well, we're gonna at the end of it.
At the
Okay.
end. At the end.
Sorry,
go
I just want to make sure that people
Yes.
are listening
Okay.
and able to hear.
Yes, and I do apologize. I get so
It's
passionate
okay.
when I talk about this work.
What made you get into the work? I'm just curious.
And how long have you
It's
been?
in my DNA. As a child, I accompanied my mother, who was a community leader in East Baltimore.
Okay.
I was handing out flyers and passing out food.
Okay.
And so as an adult, it was just natural for me to be engaged in the community. And the first time I went to an Edna Gardens Lakeside Civic Association meeting, I left chairing 2 committees.
Okay.
The following year, I was elected vice president, and the year after that, I became president, which I served for 8 years.
Wow.
Ooh,
That's serious.
yeah.
That's
So, I love the fact you said it was in your DNA.
Right.
That just shows your passion that you have to actually, make a change in Baltimore City. So that is definitely commendable there. And I want to kind of go into the Civic Saturday somewhat.
Okay.
Trying to break it, but I want to first say, could you just name all of the committees that we have? Okay. And there are some things that I think that's important too.
Okay, we have a voter education and registration committee. We have a fundraising committee. We have a bylaws and constitution committee, and we have
Communication.
budget committee. I was going to get there. And we have a communications committee on which Angie serves as vice chair.
So as on the fundraising committee, is that for the whole Democratic Central Party committee, for the whole party, the fundraising?
For Baltimore City.
Baltimore
Yes.
City.
So, and while we're speaking about that, a companion to our education piece with Civic Saturdays, we will be hosting very low-cost fundraisers, more friend raisers, actually, in each district in the city.
Okay.
With the goal being engaging with the community, letting them know who we are, partnering with the community. So that's going to be starting in July.
Okay.
And we have our annual fundraiser in October, and I'm sure I'll be back to talk about that.
Oh yeah, you will.
I think it's so important, and this is why I kind of wanted to stay here for a moment. It is so important because even when I was running for a central committee, I don't mean per se, it was, what is the central committee? Many weren't even enthused or even learn about it. All they thought about at that moment was the governor, and so forth. But this is a very important role.
It is. It is
So-
technically the governing body of the Democratic Party.
Wow.
So we vote on policies. Recently at our statewide meeting, we voted on the delegate selection plan for the National Convention in 2020. So all of those decisions are made by the local central committees, and we all come together, all the committees throughout the state, at least twice a year.
Wow. So go ahead, Angie.
No, I was just going to say, and just to shout out to Dr. Maya Cummins. She is the chair for the Maryland Party, Democratic Party. So
this is a big
women.
yeah.
So that I just had to say that. It was
Yes.
really, really good things are going on. One of the things that I want to just kind of, I'm sorry, I'm like putting in groups so you just see me. But one of the things I want to acknowledge, and just kudos to every member, is that we are doing some great things. From I look, we looked at the website. A website is building on every social media. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, Facebook. Like, these are things that, I'm not going to say like it haven't been done, but these are things that we're trying our best to get as much of the word out, feedback. Even the show, I wanted to actually, as we talk about the Civic Saturday, I still wanted to have a moment that we're talking about, the role of it, because that is so important, and every chance we can get. I also want to say that every meeting, just in case every meeting we go live, so you can see exactly what we're talking about, what
Those
we're
meetings
doing.
open to the
So
public?
it's transparent. It is. I know it's limited
All
space
meetings
sometimes.
are open to the public, and our communications committee has been Facebook Living our meetings.
Okay.
And I just like to note that we are the only state central committee in the state that does that. So we try our best to share as much information with the community. As Angie indicated, we're on all social media. Since January, we have been at countless community events. We have registered hundreds of new voters in just a few months.
So is that the focus right now, since the upcoming election, is like the voting, like getting everybody registered to vote, educating them on like with the new laws and policies and stuff like that? That's
Absolutely.
on the agenda.
Yes,
Okay.
it's education and registration.
Okay.
Help, and we're starting this, a year out, because
This is an important
This
election.
is
I was gonna say.
I was about to say, like,
it is essential
it's
that
real
we
out
are
here.
engaged in the process. I think we all should learn from the last cycle, when we didn't show up in the numbers that we had previously, and we are paying a penalty for that.
Why do you think? Do you think it was just strictly on the education aspect, or you think people didn't show up because of just, I guess, disconnection with government?
I would say a combination of both.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say.
In my in conversations with people in the community on the corners, there are people who will say, elections don't affect me.
I used to be one of them people back in the day
Okay.
when I was younger.
So you have an appreciation for how a lot of people feel. So we're trying to help people understand it impacts our lives.
It does. It really does.
And from in terms of healthcare and education and all those decisions that are made by people who are in elected office. And if those people don't care about our communities, then our issues won't be addressed.
Exactly. Okay. I like
And
that.
I hear that often. They're like, I usually vote just presidential. They think that that's the important part,
Or
but I
people
think just
vote
local.
just based off of like name and not really understanding what the person represents.
That too, because like we were on the back of it. I know my ballot has the back, and they were just, like I said, more concerned with the governor or just didn't know. So I think it's just a combination, as you stated, that being educated on the role and to know how important it is, then you'll understand. Because if they don't understand, maybe they're not going to just vote. They're not going to vote. They don't want to make the mistake to put anyone in.
Now, are there any particular, I don't know if I can ask this question, Angie, but are there any particular laws or things that the Central Committee is focused on, like this upcoming?
Well, we're not legislators,
Oh, okay.
so we don't really focus. There may be individuals who may be focused on certain things.
Or certain committees may be focused on certain things.
Well,
But still not.
yeah, that's really not what we do.
Okay. I'm just asking.
What we are committed to doing is, when it gets down to helping people understand the difference between a democratic platform and other platforms. Okay, and those things that we believe in as Democrats. And those things that our candidates would be delivering on when they get elected.
Okay, I like that. Good answer. Good answer.
It's a good answer.
Sure, you're not a politician.
Yes, they said it's in our DNA, right?
Sure, you're not running to be the next mayor.
So I just want to, before we go to this, I want to say that we try our best to go to every event that's in the city that we can register voters. I also have some information for you too. So, with the block parties, the state's attorney, the mayors, like these are things that's your crowd is going to be there, and I'm just thankful to just be, for the central committee to be embraced, to have the opportunity to be there. We've done pop-ups where we can register voters. I mean, every opportunity that we can do, that's what we're trying to do. So I want to just let people
Shout
know
out to the
this
central
is,
committee.
This, yes, we
man?
are
Shout
doing
out.
it, and it's a lot. So I say that to say that this is a busy weekend, busy month. Going to be a busy summer. It's going to be busy until
the kids
election.
about to get out of school.
So I do
do?
want to say that we try our best to go to every event that we can. And as Chairwoman said, that we have 42 elected and 17 at large. There are more than enough. We try to disperse them out and get them, certain areas and events that they can register votes, because that's just, like I said, the role that we have is just to engage voters and to register them. So there are a lot of places that we're going. So I said it to say, if you have events that are coming up, please let us know, and we'll make sure that we can try to coordinate and get individuals out
So how
there.
would they let you know, like on the Central Committee Facebook or website?
So, and then at the end, I'll have her say why, how to contact us. But we are, like I stated, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
.org.
And we have a website as well. So there are various ways to contact us, but I want everyone to know that this is a community effort,
right,
and it's just going to take everyone. So if you know an event going on, I don't care if it's from senior events or school events, community events, whatever it may be, we want to make sure that we know what's going on and ways that we can be there. And so with that said, we do have the Civic Saturday coming up this Saturday. We want every opportunity that we can to, as you stated, to show how government works and how our voices can be heard. And I think once you just made a great example about, the signs in your neighborhood, there are things that we can do, and we don't have to be elected, but showing up is the biggest thing that we could do. So let's talk about Civic Saturday, and on the flyer it has community forum. I just love the fact every time I hear community village, anything like that, it takes me back. It takes me back, because it's going to take everyone to play that part. So let's dive into that and talk about what can they expect on Saturday.
Okay. Before I get that, I'm going to give you a little background.
Mm-hmm.
Back in March or April, I had a conversation with then City Council President Jack Young regarding my vision for educating the community.
It's okay.
And he said, "Oh, great, I'd love to be a part of that." So we talked about co-sponsoring a community event, and thus came the Civic Saturdays.
Okay.
So the goal is, on Saturday, we are inviting the community to join us at City Hall.
Okay.
Many of our community members have never been to City Hall.
True.
So it was important for us to open up that opportunity. We will have a training program, if you will, with information regarding city agencies, the city council, the mayor's office, helping people to understand the differences between those two branches of government, and more importantly, how to be engaged with our city local government.
So I got another question.
Yes.
All right, so question. So now it's at City Hall, right?
Yes.
So now, was it up to the individual central committees in their districts to canvass the community to let citizens know about? I saw it on Facebook. Now I did see it on Facebook. Through I don't know if it was a sponsor ad or whatever. But I did see it on Facebook. I don't know if it's because of the type of work I do, so it shows up based on the algorithms and what I do, I guess. So, but I'm saying, if I was like a regular citizen in one of the communities that you serve, how would I know about it, especially if I'm a person that never been to City Hall? Like, so how would I know to even attend or be, you know what I mean? You know, sometimes we have events and it just be us, the activists, looking at each other like, you know what I mean? Right. So I'm just curious on how you guys
part
are
of it was we put it on all social media back in April.
Okay.
So it's been out there since April.
Okay.
We've asked community partners to share that information. Groups like Baltimore Votes, which I serve on the advisory board, they have shared that with their networks. We have distributed to our listservs. So that's anyone that's come into contact with us whose email we have. And we've asked our members to share it with their communities. I, for example, at my last Edna Gardens Lakeside Civic Association meeting, made an announcement and shared that. So I'm hopeful that our other members have done the same thing. So there's been flyers out there. So we're hopeful that people have gotten that information. We're thankful to be here today.
To even spread more information out,
Absolutely. And for those who are coming, it's from 12 to 2. And please bring your ID. A government-issued ID is required to enter City Hall. It's right on the bus line. There's several buses that stop right there. And parking is good around on the side streets on Saturdays.
Nice. Thank you for answering my question.
You're welcome.
Now, we'll say...
Oh, there will be food also.
Oh, yes.
That's important.
That is important.
Oh, yeah, you definitely... You tell food, people going to be there, tell them food. And healthy people juice them. It's like...
So we are... You going to be there?
I'm definitely not going to be there.
Oh, I'm definitely
no, because I'm going to be...
I had to look around. Was like,
no, I'm going to be at the Fresh Fest. I'm doing the Fresh Fest with the kids. The kids vending, you know.
Yeah, and we realize that once you get into the summer months...
There's a lot of events going on at the same time.
There's a lot of things going on, which is a great reflection of what's going on in our great city.
Absolutely.
But this is the first. So there will be other civic Saturdays or other educational events at other locations throughout the community. So if you're not able to join us on this Saturday, there will be others.
Nice.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, how often do you plan on having the Civic Saturdays?
That's a good question.
Because I just know that I always hear like this is going to be a kickoff.
That is yet to be determined.
Okay, no problem.
We're going to... I believe in assessing
the first one. See what we can improve.
To see and then make decisions about moving forward. So we'll know after Saturday. But what I also want to add, this is really the second, as you know, community educational event we've had. In February, we had a Black History Month program. And the focus was the history of voting rights. So helping the community, our people to understand how we got to where we are.
Yeah, that's important.
That's so important. And so the goal is once we help people to understand that, people have a responsibility and step into that responsibility to vote.
And if they really understood the history of Maryland and Baltimore, it'll make them want to vote, period.
Yes, to stand in line. And, you know.
I think just history, period, makes a great deal. And the fact that they don't even have it in the schools anymore. That is actually what I loved. You know, I love to have learned all of that, and now they don't have that anymore. It's kind of that helps with the disconnect that we have.
It does.
It does.
And they just don't understand that, and then they wonder why we're not voting. There's no interest there. There's nothing that excites them, even from high school age.
Sure. If you don't know where you've come from and how you've gotten to where you are, then you are challenged to move from where you are to where you like or need to be.
Right, because you get comfortable being stuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was a nice one. Surely not a politician.
Look, it's going to be coming right soon one day. I love the fact that she mentioned that, it's grassroots, and that is one of the things that we want to continue to show our faces in the community. As stated, if there's ever anything that is out there, I know like the farmers market, I don't know if we can or not, but that was one of the things I wanted to
did you ask
discuss.
about
There
that?
are so many, so I have some information and to see if there are some ways that we can go, but it could be the smallest thing. We just want to make sure we're even inviting us out to your community, and as stated, she is the chair for Baltimore City, so it's an entire city of Baltimore, so we want to make sure that you have to help us as well. So
Right,
if there's
it's
things
important.
going on, let us know as well.
And through my little leadership program at Johns Hopkins, I'm learning about how important community associations are,
Oh,
right?
yes.
And how you have to start really charging.
in some
You have to really start charging them to bring people to the table if they want change. You know what I mean? Like if you are a community association leader and you say you can bring 50 people, you can't come with 48. You got to come with 50. You know what I mean? Like, because you're the leader of the, you know what I mean? So that's why I was asking, like, are the community associations being charged to support what the Central Committee is doing for the Civic Saturdays? You know what I mean? Because they more in the, like, to me, like, you would think that the community associations would be kind of more in the face of the people than, you know what I mean? I mean, I know you should be in the face of the people, but I don't know.
Because they
That's
get
why I'm asking.
501c3.
Right. There's a challenge there.
Okay, I mean, educate us, because I don't know. You know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Community associations and many nonprofit organizations must be nonpartisan.
Nonpartisan.
Oh, so they can't really. Oh,
So
that makes sense.
And
Damn.
so that's why when people,
Damn.
we talk about
That's important
tough
to know.
one. Yeah,
we
that's
talk
very
about
important.
informing people, because
very
people have
important.
criticized the Central Committee for not coming to all of the community association meetings. Well,
You really can't,
You really-
because you can't really
there
be.
you go.
Damn, that makes
you
sense.
understand it.
Wow.
So because
but it's
it
that will-
depends on relationships. It depends on, you can make an announcement in some meetings.
Right.
Some you better not
associations won't
even-
allow you to do that.
Yeah, I'm about to say, but you would think that, like, even. Dang, that's crazy.
It is. I actually said that was a good question.
That is kind of crazy that that is a hindering block, because it shouldn't matter. I mean, just because I'm bringing people doesn't mean I'm, you know what I mean?
But we
but I
are the
understand
Democratic State Central Committee, so
So they have a Republican State Central
Yes.
Committee and they have an Independent State Central Committee?
I'm not sure about independent.
So it's only
but I
two.
know, yes,
Just
Republican
the
and-
blue and the red.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I kind of get it, but you can still make it where you're not sitting here and saying vote for this person, but still the educational part is just, to me, that's important.
Yeah, but I'll say, because if somebody just came to my community, and I was a community association here, and somebody came to my community like, hey, we have Civic Saturdays, we're going to educate the people on voting. I don't care if it's the Democratic Central Committee, the Republican Central Committee. I should be able to bring that to my people for them to come. You know what I mean?
You're conscious.
I'm aware that,
And you want other people to reach that level of consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, because I think that's
Everybody is not
I
there.
think that's important. I mean,
Yes.
if someone is doing good work, it shouldn't be something as, I'm not going to say something as cumbersome as
a party.
a party affiliation for me to stop getting information. You know what I mean? For my
So
community. I
it's
think
a very
that's
delicate line.
It is.
It's a delicate line.
okay. Do you want
She
to?
said that they are charged with electing Democrats.
Okay.
So that's their focus. So if you go to a whack Republican one, their
Okay.
focus
Why it have to be a whack Republican one down? Okay, I'm a
their
Republican.
focus would be to elect Republicans.
Okay.
So they would frame it to you, even though you got the red, black, and green hat.
Yeah.
They would frame it to you
Absolutely.
from a Republican standpoint and try to flip your community Republican.
So it,
But no, but not.
So you don't want to talk to them banners.
So you saying that? So you saying that? But if they're educating me on just voting rights and all that,
No,
the basics.
So I want to give a prime example.
Yeah, give
If I wanted this to go to one of the community associations, right, and I send this flyer, the flyer clearly says that it's hosted by the Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee.
Right.
That right there will not be shown on there because it is not showing a nonpartisan there.
Right,
It's showing Democratic.
I understand that part.
So we can't get, so there's a barrier of us getting information out. But in the same token, if we don't say that we're hosting and doing, people won't think that we're doing the work. So we're doing it, and we have to find
but you have
ways.
to say Democrat. You can't just say Central Committee.
No, that is what we are.
That's what we are.
What?
That's our name.
I'm just saying.
It's about branding.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yes, I mean that was, and so that's my point. My point is like,
It's like you say
you kind of.
juice when you say
I say HPJ.
beer.
I say
Like,
HPJ. I
juice,
say
beer, whatever. It's all
I say HPJ. I say HPJ.
Well, that's different. I can't give an example with your healthy people juice.
No, that is a good example,
But
but-
this one is.
But I think the point
beer and
is,
juice.
yeah. But I
It's all
think the
liquid.
point is
It's
helping
different.
people understand why they may not see us in certain
And that's-
places.
right, and that's
why.
what I'm saying. Like,
That's why I said it's
Exactly.
important. We have to put it out because if not, there's no evidence to show that that's what we're doing. But in the same token, we can't sit there and say we're not going to put
no,
it on.
I believe
just to
that
get
you guys are
word
doing a
out.
lot. I mean, I believe you guys are doing a
Certain
lot.
Places that won't even allow us to come.
To-
hold
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
So
Like,
hold a
I
meeting.
believe that you guys are doing a lot. I'm just saying, like, from just the things that I'm learning in my leadership training, that like we got to organize people and money. So I'm just trying to figure
Well.
out like what does that look like? You know what I mean?
That's
Like
what
I'm
you just said. You're conscious. So
what does that look like?
But
You
it's
know what I
but
mean?
it's
Like,
totally
because if
different.
it's important. like-
Yeah, so it's totally different. It would be a whole entire organization of what we're doing. This one here is strictly
organizing the people and the Democratic people
voters
to
and getting
them engaged in the process.
Absolutely.
I totally
Ultimate
I got
goal of
And it,
Now I have
and it
a
didn't
PhD
just
in
and it didn't
Baltimore
just
City
start
Democratic
and there's
Central Committee
for both parties. So
mission.
yeah, that's
All right,
exactly what
cool.
we're doing. So I
Sorry.
and I always just talk about that. I'm just like we have to show what we're doing, but then I want. And I think that was a very good question, though. But you have to let people know the barriers that we do have. It's not as simple just to
Right.
say put in every.
Yeah, 'cause I had no
XYZ.
idea. Like, I
And
had
put
no
it in
idea.
groups, and who knows? Somebody may say they don't want to have it in there just
Yeah, I
because
had
of
no
that.
idea.
But you know, you put it out, you throw it out, you let people know what we're doing. You do, you know, podcasts like this, or get on show, you know, radio shows. I don't know if there's a barrier there or,
Or
not.
community association people
but go
invite
there.
both parties to both central committees to your event.
So, and I think you can, but like I stated, even when we're trying to have meetings, there's a barrier. Yeah. So
That's just tough, man. Like, who made these rules up? I mean, to me, the rules are just not right.
It's not, but
Yeah, but
Are these rules mandated from the federal government?
yeah, well, and for your nonprofit status, yes, you
nonprofit.
must.
So church
be
is included in that too,
Yes.
because they're nonprofits.
Yes.
And Johns Hopkins is a nonprofit, and all our hospitals are nonprofit. Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So y'all,
It is.
Our whole city is basically nonprofit.
Well, yeah, but that's why we go where the people are.
We are, and that's why I said your key word
Boots
was
on the ground. Y'all
Boots
are
on the
boots
ground.
on the ground.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That explains a
When
lot.
she said grassroots, that was it right there. It sums it up. The boots on the
Yeah, because
ground.
I knew, I remember when you was doing your thing, boots on the ground. Like, you was going hard.
Still doing it.
I mean, you are, but I'm just saying, like, that's what drew me to
Yeah.
Restoring the Village Radio,
you
just
know
because of
what?
the boots on the ground action I seen my sister doing. So it was
Thank you,
like no
thank
brainer, you know.
And you know what happened is that I engaged with more voters just by, I mean, sometimes it took more time because you're trying to explain to them what
It is,
first.
right.
Right.
But then, and then even some, I mean, I've had arguments of what I should be doing, and I'm like, I'm not a delegate, so I think the educational, when you put, mandate someone and you think that I was supposed to help with the water bill or something, something, I don't know, I'm just trying to give an example.
No, that was one of my
It's
examples I
just
used.
that to know and educate to say, this is what we were elected for this reason, and that's why I said in the beginning, what is a Senate
Yes.
committee?
Like, y'all not the people
and
that
what
you
is it
call for
not?
ransomware advice. Like,
We have nothing to do with that. We have.
We
nothing
don't even
do
have to
with
talk about that.
potholes.
I'm just curious, I'm just saying.
Well, I do. I go beyond all of that, and I guess that's why I want to go forward with even
and
running
then-
for an
yeah.
office, because I know there are so many, and I appreciate even the Civic Saturday, because even having agency there
Right.
to know
On a
this is where
Saturday.
you go. Yeah, and it's a Saturday.
Right.
You don't get no better.
Yeah, I'll say people do not like working on Saturday. So if you got some offices there on Saturday, kudos.
So yeah, kudos to
The Baltimore City Democratic Central Committee.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Now
And
you
Mad
even know how to
Jack.
say it.
No, I
Yeah,
can-
you
it's a
got
flow
had
now.
it.
It's
I'm
a
gonna
flow.
I'm gonna school him on
It's a
that
flow.
probably like next. No, I could just do it tomorrow. You might forget it.
Baltimore City Democratic Central Committee. All right.
Okay, there you go.
Left one more word, but it's
That's
okay.
right. That
was good.
Positive reinforcement.
Yes. So I'm appreciative of that, and I'm just thankful that, people can at least come back to this, learn what we are, and hopefully, coming back to even talk about more things that you have going on.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And we have, I mentioned we have 42 elected members, 17 at large. We have a very diverse and highly talented group of individuals who represent the entire city of Baltimore. And we're just so fortunate that we are in a position to have teams of people going out in different areas, different events at the same time, so that we can continue to reach more members of the community with the ultimate goal of educating, empowering, and getting folks galvanized and out.
I love the education, empowering. That's dope. So one of my people asked, do you have to live in the district that you're a central committee in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there are two requirements. You must be a registered voter and live in the district.
Okay. Good.
Democratic.
Democratic voter. Yes, a registered Democratic voter.
Yes. No, he's shaking his head, but that's
no comment.
That is true. So yeah. So I have a few things that when I say a few, a couple. So we have the Civic Saturday. We have the Pride Parade. So you'll have Central Committee there as well.
Yes, we will have a team of Central Committee members on Sunday at the Pride Festival. Mm-hmm. The Pride Family Festival is on Sunday. After consulting with folks from Pride of Maryland, it was recommended that the parade wasn't really the best time to register individuals to vote. So the festival, where people will be more, sedentary, moving around, walking around, enjoying themselves, we will have a team of folks out registering people.
Great. Didn't know that. Where would it be located?
Druid Hill Park.
Okay. All right. And that is also Father's Day.
No comment.
Sunday.
Understand.
If you don't mind, I got to get on this one right here. I want to say, Brother Nance.
idea was that to have the parade or festival at the park where the fathers be having cookouts with their kids.
Do they have cookouts? I thought they were all over. No. See, there you go.
That I can't answer.
Listen, it's so many things going on in Baltimore City, okay? So now he's like, the festival and the Father's Day cookout. But listen, I want to also just acknowledge that Brother Nance was in New York. And because we just mentioned about Father's Day, this being Sunday, can you talk about what happened when you were in New York?
Well,
I think this is big, and he's just making it so small.
No, because I'm really excited for my brother Matt Pressberry.
Yeah, shout out to
he started
Matt
a Facebook group called Black Fathers, maybe 10 years ago now, and to see it morph to what it is, and him finally getting his just recognition was great. When we walked into the space, they had his logo, Black Fathers Foundation. They welcomed us. Shout out to what's the sister that got the transportation company, Borden or Borden? Yeah, they donated 2 vans to take the brothers up.
Borden?
Yeah, they donated 2 vans for us to go up. So it was just a great opportunity to be in a room full of like polished black men and unpolished black men.
And talk about
and all of us talking.
What's going to happen?
What?
Is it going to air?
Oh yeah, I don't be caring on stuff like that. It's on the,
I know it. I'm
on
excited.
the 15th. I think it's airing this weekend.
I thought it was Sunday on Father's
This
Day.
Sunday?
I
don't know. I don't know.
You knew it. Anyway, they went for the taping.
We went for the.
It's going to be live.
It was going to be live. It was going to be great. But I'm just saying, as far as you're talking about how was it? I mean, it was a great experience for like the sons that went. And the fathers and them getting to eat. I mean, the food wasn't that great, but I mean, it wasn't. I mean, let's keep it real. It wasn't. They served us, other people food.
Okay.
Serve our type of food.
Okay.
No, but let me tell you, I can go all the way in. But it was a great experience just to see all the brothers together with their sons. And I took my son and my nephew. There was a couple people that had kids there that wasn't there. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, so it was a great experience. And Jamae from Broco, her father was there. You know, she's from New York. So her father was in the building, and he brought his, I guess it's his grandson over there. Yeah. And there was a lot of youth that had businesses too, like that was there. So that was another powerful thing.
It was
and
powerful.
Just to hear the philanthropy from, shout out to Mark Hill, who else was up there? Hill Harper and Jeff Johnson. They were very powerful speakers. Like,
excellent. Congratulations.
And so hopefully we'll be getting some money out of that situation for Black Fathers Foundation. And you know,
listen, I was so thankful to be on the advisory board for the Black Fathers Foundation.
You met on the advisory board?
Yes, we met for the first time last weekend, and it was so amazing. I love whatever I can do to help empower our fathers, our Black fathers.
But you know that they showed some statistics up there, which I'm glad they did. Because I always tell people, like, the statistics are off about black men not taking care of their kids.
Oh, yeah.
Half of black men don't even have children. You know what I'm saying? So they was breaking it. Like, they actually showed us the numbers, like, and it was like, so you guys will see what they showed us on the preview tip on what they're going to be discussing. And it was like to have Procter and Gamble and BET come together for something like that and really focusing on fatherhood. There's a lot of brothers that are doing well with their children. You know what I mean? I don't know any men.
We are daddy's girls.
So, yeah,
that's where we have our connection right there. My father had custody of me, took care of me, and it's an honor to even been asked to be on that advisory board.
Yeah, it was an honor to even be invited to go. You know
so
what I mean?
I saw pictures, and if I get the full information, maybe I'll send him a message while I'm on here. I thought it was going to air on Sunday.
I thought it was me Sunday.
And if it is, please tune in to BET. And
it's still Black Entertainment Television.
Yeah. Shout out again to Matt Pressberry. Again, Black Fathers Foundation.
And also they were talking about they're changing the programming and doing more shows showing fatherhood. Like they're doing something with Don Cornelius or whatever, and his son, and how their relationship was and all that. So you know, they're trying to do something.
So as you see, it's so many things going on in Baltimore City. So listen, I think I want to kind of go back, but with I would say a slogan that chairwoman said. Rubber meets the road. I think that kind of go with everything we're talking about. Old school. Yeah, that's old school, right?
Rubber meets the road.
Rubber meets the road, and that is exactly what everyone is doing, and that is that whole, restoring the village. We all have a role and a purpose in life, and I'm just thankful that everybody is either, walking in that purpose or will foresee that, and to be encouraged that, we have a lot of things going on, and there's a place for you. So I'm really excited. Again, seeing the pictures, seeing how you've transformed, or is in the in the work of transforming the Central Committee to be more visible, to be more lively,
bringing y'all to the 21st century.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Speaking of the 21st century, Diamond K is gonna laugh at me. But listen, so I was giving someone a business card, and they were like, "I don't want a business card." So look, I got a little scan. So I was like, scan that. Okay. And so we have to get with the program, and maybe that's something we could do as well.
My question is, where are your cards at that belong in the wallet?
I got rid of that. No. Every time I always put it in. But I think that's something good that we can do, as that, and it can go to our website, it can go to a registration, it can go wherever you want it to go, and you can just scan that thing away, and that's definitely a way to get your young,
especially the young people. Yeah,
you are vice chair of our communications committee.
I know, I'm just saying,
and I appointed you to that role
for a reason. I'm with you, sister.
I want you to know what I learned, okay? And this is from an older person. Okay. She was like, "Don't give me no business card.
You better get yourself one of them PC scanners my grandbaby told me to get."
So we are doing everything in our power to reach every voter, young and old, and even the ones that are not yet, able to register.
Yes. In the state of Maryland, you can register to vote at 16 years old.
I want to get them early just to talk about
register or vote.
You can
register at 16.
So that you're in the system and all set to go
when you turn
18.
And that also, I believe, helps begin people to think in
Yeah,
terms
that's
of
what it started
civic,
early.
engagement, civic
I can agree with that,
responsibility.
definitely.
That's why I said it was important for me learning. I mean, before 16, I don't know, it might have been my 9th grade year. But I remember in Maryville, they had it, and it was like, it was just amazing for me
School
to know.
system was different back then.
I mean, I know. You don't have to say it like that.
In addition to new voters, we want to re-engage some
The old
of the
voters,
Democrats
yes.
that have gone by the wayside.
By the wayside.
By the wayside. I'm aging myself. Of all these
Y'all got to
things.
re-engage my grandmother and them, because they don't go out and vote no more.
Okay, then
Really?
we're
Grandma
going to
don't?
talk.
Grandma
after the
don't
show.
vote. Yeah, grandma don't
Then
vote.
I'll go pick up grandma and take grandma.
Right, good luck. Good luck. If you get grandma to vote, you're bad. Shut your mouth.
Now, this is, hopefully it's not, too much of a hot topic, but what do you think, and I would like to hear from you as well,
Okay,
but
well,
what do
yeah,
you
yeah.
think are some reasons why they're not voting? Because you said your grandmother, and most older.
Well, she's not voting just because she doesn't want to.
Okay.
And when you get a certain age,
She don't want to leave the house. She just, what it
Okay,
is.
okay.
Then you have some that, I know some young people that don't want to vote because, again, like you said earlier, they don't see how it's going to impact them. They feel like all the laws are written against them, and they don't realize that they have power to kind of change the laws. That's one. And I think that another thing is that I vote, I mean, just because the ancestors, but I mean, I'm a reluctant voter.
okay.
Just because, a lot of the things that the candidates speak about, it only is during election time. You know what I mean? So a lot of people in Baltimore are sick of the horse and pony show or the dog and pony show, whatever you call it. You know what I mean? They're actually just sick of it. So to have young, fresh faces and engaging with the Central Committee and knowing what the Central Committee is, that's why I'm trying to further educate my leadership through the Bunting Leadership Program with Johns Hopkins to see how to organize people and money. So when it's time to do voting, you can have grassroots organizers that can be like, okay, whether it's Democrat or Republican, whoever's giving the best message, you can still give them both informations and they can see, okay, well, you're not swaying them either way. You're just giving them the information on an even platform. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think that's one of the main reasons, because it's not being presented to them like we talked last year. Like, no one really knows what they're voting for. Like, people vote for Elijah Cummings just because their grandmother told them to, and you've been voting for him since you was 18. I'm 42. I've been voting for the same people. Like, as soon as you see Christ and Fume when he was on there, you voted. You know what I'm saying? But he black, you vote. You know what I mean? Like, you vote for all the black people. But our city is mostly black people. You vote for the same people.
Well, and I think that's why the education piece is
Very
so
important,
important,
very
and
important.
helping people to understand their voice is their vote is their voice.
Exactly.
But it doesn't end on election day.
It doesn't.
And
that's what they think.
unfortunately, that's what has been happening,
Yeah.
particularly in our community.
Absolutely.
That's the beginning.
Yeah.
We have to hold our elected officials
Accountable.
accountable and be engaged, because if they're not, well, the folks who our elected officials hear from are the folks who get
Organized.
and get responded to.
Yes.
The legislative session in Annapolis is 90 days. If you've never been down to attend a hearing or to share your perspective on, a pending vote, if you go down, there might be 5 or 10 people. There may be 20, but most of them are not from Baltimore. Most of them don't look like us.
I can imagine.
So when it's time to show up, we have
To
to
show
because
us. If you're not at the table, you can't complain about making the
if you're not
decisions
at the
that been made at the
you're gonna be
table.
on the menu.
Exactly, facts. I like that one. Write that one down. Angie. I'm gonna use that one.
Okay, you all have to give me credit.
I'm gonna give you credit for that. I'm gonna give you credit for that one. You know what I mean?
And that's the reality. So that's part of the education
That's a good
piece,
one.
helping our community understand. It's an
Sure you ain't a
ongoing,
politician.
it's an ongoing relationship. It's about, I talk about engaging the community. It's not,
I'm about to switch your role. We about to resign.
Is that going to help you change over a party?
No, I mean, I'm not really
I'm
associated
kidding.
in party. I'm associated who has the people's best
I'm
interests.
kidding.
You know what I mean? Like, whether it's Democrat, Republican, Independent, like, I don't really care about that part. Whoever's the best candidate. Like, if Angie the best candidate for her district, I'm going to vote for Angie. You know what I mean? But if I didn't think she was the best candidate, even though we're friends, and she my sister, I wouldn't vote for her.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I vote for her because
I'm
she's
so
a good
thankful
candidate.
that I have his support still.
No, I'm just saying we got to be real.
Because you're still being engaged.
Yeah,
And and I can appreciate that, but it's all. I would also encourage you to
Please.
delve a little deeper.
Please, I'm willing to.
Okay, and I know that. That's why. To look at, because you said any party. Well, there are things that Democrats represent and stand for versus those other folks. And I think that's important for people to understand.
Core components.
And the core values.
I've been on both sides.
We are the party of inclusion.
Okay, I'm on both sides, brother.
We are a party of inclusion. We advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves.
I agree.
So, that's important for people to understand and not be duped by rhetoric
True.
that many espouse during campaign season.
I just hope that the Democratic Party really don't let the what's the word I'm looking for?
I have a disclaimer with him.
Do you remember, while you're thinking about it,
thank you.
do you remember the red line?
Hey,
that could have transformed
I just did a whole
our city
I just did a
by
whole-
giving access to many people in the community
Yes.
to jobs and
I know.
opportunities.
I just did a whole. That's what I'm studying right now.
So that's a consequence
Yes.
of 2 elections ago.
Yes.
That's why elections matter.
Actually, it's actually consequences from Mayor Preston from back in the day. So this is like goes
Yeah.
way back, the red line and then the butterfly and the black butterfly and all that. Like, so I, again, I'm open to dig a little deeper. But it's cool.
But isn't this great to have? What did he say? Look, I don't know. I can't mess with him. That was his message for him about the Democrats. Okay, you got it. All right. So wait a minute. He just did. Whatever it was no more talking for him.
I'm done talking.
So some takeaways from today.
Funny.
Is there anything you want to highlight before I kind of mention, or anything we missed?
The Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee is committed to engaging our members of the community. We desire to educate and empower the community so that we all can benefit and elevate our voices to get what we need for our communities. One of the ways in which we're doing that is Civic Saturday, on Saturday, June 15th from
like a
12
commercial.
to 2
At City Hall.
City Hall.
Free
All
food.
are welcome. There will be free food. But more importantly, there will be information that is vital to understanding local government and how to advocate for your community. And you'll have an opportunity to meet and interact with members of the Central Committee. And additionally, we welcome all of you to join us in this work.
Okay.
We welcome volunteers because the more hands we have on deck, the more we can do in terms of reaching the community.
Someone said any Democratic council members.
I am sure there will be.
Okay.
We have 2 members of the Central Committee who are on the City Council. City Councilman, I'm having a moment. Robert Stokes and Bullock. John Bullock.
All right, John. I like
Yes,
John.
both of them are.
I like John.
Both of them are members of
I
the
like
Central
John.
Committee.
Yeah, I like John Bullock. He's dope.
Okay.
I
Well,
love Democrats.
my takeaways is I'm trying to do this now. I let people know I'm really listening. My takeaways is definitely that, as you stated, that rubber meets the road. We all need to do our part and really do the work. And that's something that every one of us can do. I am on, and we are on the Democratic State Central Committee. I'm devoted to changing some of the thinkings that we have. And I love having discussions like this because that's the only way we'll know why people are not showing up or why they're converting over.
Yes.
If it's not for conversations such as this, we will not know how we can help that situation. I'm not going to turn to my party just to convince you that the type of person I am. It's all about the person. It's all about holding that person accountable and with respect.
Yeah.
Because, at the end of the day,
we still human.
But I'm still human. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we know that we're listening, that you know that we're listening, and that we are taking everything that you're saying and trying to improve every situation. It's not going to happen overnight, but we are here trying to make the best out of every situation that is at hand. Some things are years down the line, and things that have happened. But at the end of the day, we are getting great people in. We are getting newer visions in, and we just want to embrace all of that instead of holding people accountable what happened years ago.
Right.
It is time to move forward. It is time to understand that that our vote is our voice, and so we do want to make sure that we continue to do our due diligence. From having my grandparents, faithfully they were voting. My grandfather would have his oxygen tank, and he's like, we're going down there. He just didn't miss a beat, and I think that is a push. And as Chairwoman said, that is in our DNA. I feel like it's in my DNA. And even though my father, he made sure that he voted, but he was definitely he was the boots on the ground. He was his, walking around with his Park Heights shirts and engaging with the people that in the trenches that people did not want to go into, the people that were on drugs, the people that were selling drugs. They all respected him because he was real. And so on behalf of it being Father's Day this coming Sunday, I want to acknowledge all that have passed away, and I also want to acknowledge the fathers that are doing great things out here, because there are some amazing fathers, and I'm so delighted to see all of the ones that are doing great things. You're probably going to see me sharing all of the pictures and the videos, so if you have things going on, you can tag me in it. If you have some events going on, Drew Hill Park or wherever, we want to make sure that we know that know that we appreciate you, and thank you for that. So I did want to put my little take of, for the Father's Day, and also the things that we talked about. If anyone wanted to contact or get involved with the Central Committee, I'm going to turn this over to Chairwoman Corinthia Barber to talk about that.
Communications person.
Okay. I thought you wanted to give your contacts or something.
So I'll ask the question. So Angie, how can we, as the communications, as the community,
also district chair.
Okay, district chair, and as the chair of communication for the Baltimore City Democratic Central Committee.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
He got it again.
Can you tell us, the people, us Democrats, how to get in contact with you?
Okay. I was going to end it to you so you can end it out. But as stated, we do have the hashtag Baltimore Dems. You can do that, and it can pull up a lot of our pages.
That was your idea, Baltimore Dems?
We had it.
Okay, good job.
I don't know how
good job.
Baltimore Dems. So they could do the hashtag, as well as you could do the @ Baltimore Dems, and that will pull up all of our social media tags. We're going to have some things going on with the YouTube. As stated, all of our general meetings are live.
What's the website?
So it's Baltimore City
Democratic State Central. It's the whole thing.
Yeah, but we're going to have we have a new one, so I don't know how she's going to.
Working on it.
All right, so the best way for...
So, the best one is
through
just
social media?
do the tags, because right now you can pull that up and everything will come up.
Quick question, though. With the hashtags right now, when we do go on the website, when they go through social media or whatever, it can tell you who's your Central State Committee chairperson or person in your district.
It lists every member.
Yes. Okay, and so a person will be able to contact them if they was interested in.
Yep, it lists every elected member, every at-large member, whoever your chair is. I actually pulled it up, so the website is BaltimoreCityDems.com.
Okay.
But
BaltimoreCityDems.com.
just stay tuned with that, because that is being revamped. That website.
Yeah, we're in the process. So.
Okay. So let me ask you a question then. So the central committees, they act as they're not nonprofits or nothing like that, right?
They're elected.
So it's not like it's like a group, right? It's like an organization.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
I'm asking, is it an organization?
Elected members.
Yes, only.
We were on a ballot, so the same way you elect a delegate, your senator, your mayor, your...
Yeah, people voted for us.
Damn, so y'all really had to knock on the doors and really... So you really, honestly, people need to really know who within that central committee, because y'all all the buffers, but people that don't know how to work with their city councilmen and stuff like that in their district and all that. I did not know that. I can't.
You learned something.
No, I can't wait to go back and talk to my group, about this now.
Yeah, show this video too.
Yeah, I'm gonna show them the video, because it's important, to educate, like you said, educate and advocating for those that don't know.
We'd be happy to come speak to your group if.
Awesome, I would love to have you do that. Yeah, so I'll get your information.
So an hour goes by fast.
Yes,
I think we are
on
on that time. I didn't get the cue yet, but I think we are. I feel it. I want to thank Chairwoman Corinthia Barber for being our special guest on today. As we talked about the role of Central Committee, Civic Saturday, how to make your voice heard. We got some great little quotes that we're going to have to. We have some great quotes, some takeaways, some notes, but at the end of the day, just please make sure you continue to share to get the word out. We will be at various places this weekend, and I'm just grateful for your time.
Come get educated with the Dems.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'd like to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers and for those who are filling in the gap.
Thank you. We appreciate it. You know what fathers appreciate. We don't. That's the only holiday where you don't get no shots out in the mall when you walk in the store.
I give it all the time.
No, you don't. Nobody say Happy Father's Day when you're in the supermarket.
Oh, I do.
On Mother's Day, everybody gets a Happy Mother's Day. Even if you're not a mother, you see a woman, it's like Happy Mother's Day.
If a woman
like you obligated to say
that they're
it's like
father,
Father Day is like
if a woman comes on and
you jump in or you don't.
If a woman comes on and they say that, I'm the mother, I'm the father, I always check that, because my father never once, he accustomed me, he never once said I'm your mother.
Yeah, no, you can't be. We can't be the mother.
So we have to make sure, we had our time or our day or whatever you want to call it. It's always 365, but we want to make sure that we talk about that. And as you stated, we had talked about, child support. We've talked about a lot of things, and I always try to encourage. So hopefully we get Matt on here next week, and we'll talk about
our local celebrity,
Black
Matt
fathers.
Pressberry.
Yes. We talk about Black fathers. But as stated, I just again want to thank Chairwoman Corinthia Barber. She is the chair for Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee. I am here as a member of the State Central Committee, Democratic State Central Committee.
Democratic State Central Committee, Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee. Let's get it correct.
Co-chair for the RTV, Brother Nance, and all the things you're doing with our youth and the Black fathers as well. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I hope to see you all
prayers
soon.
To our other host and her friend.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. So our guest host Tasha Chance, I don't know why I keep getting a tongue.
Just think Nance Chance.
She had a loss in her immediate family, and she was not able to be here today. So we want to, send up some prayers and some thoughts and love and hugs over her way. And that is what the village is all about. So we want to make sure that we send her some, some love her way. Mm-hmm. So again, thank you for tuning in. I will look forward to seeing you all. I won't be here next Tuesday.
Nope.
But we want to make sure. And I also
get to talk free next week.
Also, before I end this, I also want to say, because anyone who comes on that they're a part of any kind of partisan, or running for something.
The views expressed on this show does not reflect.
No. I just want to say that at the end, we always have, what I'm running for, and it does not show that she endorses, whoever comes on, but it is my show. So that comes on, but I do want to give the disclaimer that it is not an endorsement from our chair. If it happens, it happens. But this is just something that comes up, and I wanted to give the disclaimer to everyone that it is not an endorsement. But if anyone watches every Tuesday, they'll see that it comes up after the show. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Please tune in next Tuesday, same time, same place, 6:15, RTV Radio Show.
I'll be here on time.
Have a great one.
Peace and health.